Hey there, I'm Iva, and I manage a cozy diner called Tom's Place. Today, as always, it's been nonstop. This diner was passed down to me by my in-laws, and handling everything solo can be quite a challenge. Welcome. I'll have your table ready shortly. I assure customers juggling multiple tasks. Balancing it all alone isn't easy, but my regulars often reassure me, saying, "Take your time, no rush." Their kindness means a lot. Some patrons have been loyal since my in-laws' era, while others are newcomers from nearby homes and offices. It's heartening to see the diner bustling with people enjoying their meals. When customers compliment the food, it's a small victory for me. It reminds me why I put in all the effort. My husband and I used to run Tom's Place together. He always said, "People can't help but brighten up when they're well-fed." I make sure our food keeps that spirit alive. We used to brainstorm menu ideas together, count the cash register, and rearrange the seating. It was fun, coming up with all these little tweaks. Those days continued until our son Mido became a high school student. But around the time Mido was in his sophomore year, my husband passed away in an accident. Those times felt incredibly tough, and I even considered closing the diner. Mido had his college entrance exams coming up, and he couldn't help out at the diner. I really didn't think I could keep going on my own. But then one of our regulars told me, "In town, we'll be waiting," with a gentle smile. Seeing that smile gave me the courage to try going it alone once more. It'll be okay, things will work out somehow. I downsized to a manageable size by myself after consulting with acquaintances and my in-laws. 3 months after my husband passed, Tom's Place made its comeback. Mido also passed his college admissions and got into his first choice school. "It's too far from home, so I'd like to live on my own." "Sure, that's fine. We'll go inspections soon," I responded, doing my best to accommodate his wishes. Since Mido was young, both my husband and I were so wrapped up in the diner that we hardly had time for him. The diner was thriving, and we couldn't neglect it. After closing, my husband would stay behind for prep work, and I'd come home to cook dinner and wait for him while keeping Mido company. "Dad, are you working late again tonight?" I remember Mido asking that every night when he was little, with such a lonely look on his face that still haunts me. That lonely look on his face is still etched in my mind and never leaves me. I wish we could have had more dinners together as a family of 3, but those were rare occasions. I've always felt guilty for making Mido feel so lonely all the time. I want Mido to learn what he's interested in, find what he wants to do, and pursue it with all his heart. I told him before his exams and the day before he moved out. Mido just nodded slightly, looking down. He didn't say much more than that. Even after he started living on his own, I kept running the little diner by myself. We had enough savings for his college tuition, so we didn't need to rely on loans. The years he spent in college flew by in no time, and I was still managing the diner alone. After graduating, Mido got a job and started working as a professional. Imagining him squeezed into a packed train, dressed in a suit and tie, made me smile quietly to myself, thinking about how much that little Mido had grown up. He had a girlfriend, which surprised me as much as if my eyes were about to pop out when he introduced her. Mido's girlfriend, Camila, was so beautiful you'd think she was a model. "Nice to meet you. I'm Camila. I'm dating Mido." Her beautiful voice and polite way of speaking overwhelmed me. I couldn't help but think she must be the daughter of some incredibly wealthy family. "Oh, not at all. We're just a normal family," she said with a laugh, which was also elegant. I wondered how Mido could attract such a wonderful person. More than living together, it seemed Mido had moved into Camila's place. I couldn't help it. "My neighbor is noisy." "Mido, it's fine. I had rented a slightly larger room to begin with, so it's just right," Camila cheerfully said, coming to his rescue. Her polite speech, graceful gestures, and bright smile, I completely took a liking to her and couldn't help but say, "Please take care of him." And so the two happily got married and had 2 kids. 3 years later, the firstborn was a girl named Mila. The second was a boy named Kent. Guess I'd become a grandma now, I'd say, talking to my husband's photo. Even after the children were born, Camila would find time to visit the diner. Hi, Ava. Oh, welcome. What about work, Camila? After the kids were born, I switched to a job I could do from home. Wow, we live in an age where that's possible. I'd say in admiration, taking turns looking at young Mila and Kent. It's fascinating to think that these little ones will grow up and stand on their own like Mido did. Considering this, children seem even more mystical, and I'd stare at them even more intently. As the seasons turned, my two grandchildren grew up. My face got more spots, and suddenly Mila was in elementary school. Mila, how old are you now? I asked her one day when she came to visit the diner. I'm 6 now, and I'll be 7 on my next birthday, she replied with a precision not typical for a primary schooler. She must take after her mother. According to Camila, Mila is great at taking care of her little brother, which is a big help. They don't fight and get along really well, she'd say proudly. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, and it felt like all was leading to a bright future. But that wasn't to be the case. I had one big worry. It was about Mido, who seemed to have a hard time sticking with any job for long. Right after graduating from college, he quit his first job within 6 months. There's just too much to do, it's not worth the pay. Then he found another job, but he left that one too in less than 3 months. I can't do what I want, and not being able to work remotely nowadays is just impossible. If you keep changing jobs like this, you won't get anywhere. It's not my fault, the economy is to blame. Whenever something didn't suit him, he'd resort to excuses and quit. Watching him do this made me sigh. If you're not working, then you must be helping Mila and Kent, right? No, I don't do that. That's Camila's job, not mine. Camila was the one supporting the family in place of Mido. Even as we spoke, Mido was glued to his smartphone screen. I wondered what he was so engrossed in. Oh, Mom, you should check this out. I've gotten into food blogging as a hobby, posting on social media. When he showed me his phone, it was filled with rows of photos from various eateries. There were pictures of delicious-looking dishes and big combo meals. Mido talked about follower counts and likes, but it was all Greek to me. Instead of playing around with that, why don't you get a real job? It's not a game, I'm serious. I'm aiming to be an influencer. What's that? Never mind, just follow me and hit like, okay. I don't know how to do any of that. Give me your phone, I'll install this app for you, and here's how you do it. With quick finger movements, he swiftly set up an account and got everything registered. He also showed me which button to press for likes and how to navigate the app. But after he left, I was still completely lost. I can't keep up with any of this. I put my smartphone aside and focused on doing the diner accounting instead. Occasionally, when I video call Camila, she too seems to have been told to check out Mido's social media. Despite that, there are far more important things to pay attention to right here. I find more joy in seeing Mila and Kent through video calls than anything on social media. Mido had helped out a bit at my diner right after he became unemployed, thinking it seemed easier than working at a company. No job is truly easy, but I appreciated his help at the diner. I've heard that these days it's less common for children to take over their parents' businesses. I wasn't planning on forcing the diner on him. I was prepared to close it gracefully when the time came. But maybe there had been some change in Mido's heart. Maybe he had started to feel like he wanted to take over the diner. So I harbored a faint hope. I happily had Mido out front greeting customers and taking orders. He became friendly with the regulars, and seeing him chat with them was refreshing. It seemed like a good start for the first week or so. Maybe this suits him better than working for a company after all. But he hardly did any cleaning or guiding. Worse yet, he began looking at social media in front of customers. He'd start asking both regulars and new customers to follow him and hit like. The next day, Mido didn't show up for work at the time he was supposed to. Mido, where are you? Today's your day off. I'm quitting that job. It's harder than I thought. After that, he wouldn't answer my calls, and I was back to running the diner alone. Mido stopped coming to the diner altogether after less than 10 days. Since then, he's focused more on social media than anything else. Meanwhile, Camila has recently been working multiple jobs and cutting back on sleep. I worry she might collapse one day. Yet Mido shows no sign of concern, continuing his food tours and social media posts. During one of our rare video calls, Camila let her true feelings slip. I wish she would earn even a little bit of money. She looked unusually downcast, her shoulders slumped. That wonderful smile was gone. Her beautiful voice sounded distant. Mido was still out and about, rarely home. When I scolded him, he always said, "Being famous and expanding my network will pay off in the future." I listened to those words, doubtful they would lead anywhere. Yet if that's how Mido could make a living, part of me wanted to support him. Deep down, I wanted to let Mido do what he wished, perhaps too leniently. Camila, believing in what Mido was doing, refrained from criticizing him too harshly. His actions, whether by luck or effort, had managed to slightly increase his followers and likes. But it didn't take long to realize that was a mistake. One day, as usual, I was at the diner. It was bitterly cold outside, with overcast skies and snow forecasted for the evening. With no customers around after lunch, I used the time for evening prep and cleaning. As I was wiping tables, my smartphone rang in my pocket. It was Camila. Expecting another routine video call, I answered, but the voice on the other end was weak. "Ava, I'm sorry, there's something I need to tell you." She had collapsed from overwork a few days ago and would be hospitalized for a while. "Hospitalized? How are you now? Are you okay?" "I'm somehow managing. You could have just told me earlier." I was going to, but Mido said there was no need to tell you. Mido did. He said he would take care of the kids himself, but I'm worried about them. Of course, is Mido at home? It's hard to imagine him doing such a thing. However, if his wife was hospitalized, even Mido would presumably take care of the children. He said he would look after them. I wanted to believe him. She hesitated, raising a bad premonition in me. He's been posting pictures on social media. I'm afraid he's not looking after the kids. Camila also followed Matteo's social media and, suspecting something, she checked the app. On the day Camila was hospitalized and the following day, Mido carefreely posted pictures. I was astounded as I listened to her story. Moreover, that restaurant is out of state. I couldn't just sit by. It's hard to believe that children under 10 could fend for themselves with both parents absent. "I'll head over to your place now. Can I come with you?" "No, you need to rest up, please," I said firmly and hung up. If I didn't, she might actually try to come along. She's under doctor's orders, she can't just get up and go. I immediately posted a closed sign on the shop and headed to Mido and Camila's place a couple of train stations away. It's located about 2 train stations away. Fortunately, I had a spare key for emergencies like this. I hurriedly unlocked the door and entered. "Mila, Kent, where are you?" The room was pitch dark and hard to see. Stepping forward, I bumped into something like a plastic bottle. I took another step into the silent, still room where not a sound could be heard. The room was chilly, seeming like the heating was off. "Mila, Kent, Grandma's here." Moving further in, I saw 2 small silhouettes move in the unlit living room. Turning on the light, I found Mila looking terribly thin in the freezing room with Kent shivering beside her, eating a banana from Mila's hand. 4 frightened eyes stared back at me. "Mila, Kent," I couldn't help but hug them tightly. "Grandma." Mila and Kent clung to me, sobbing loudly. Their small hands gripped me tightly. They must have felt so alone. Fear and worry likely overwhelmed them since their mom was hospitalized and hadn't returned. Thinking about their feelings made my heart ache. I'm sorry I didn't realize sooner. It's going to be okay now. I turned on the heat, and until the room warmed up, I pulled out their coats to put on them. I boiled water in the kitchen and made hot milk. Mila and Kent happily drank their cocoa. Having not seen Mido around, I haven't seen Mido around all up to this point. In fact, I hadn't seen anything that looked like his shoes either. Hoping it was a mistake, I called Mido. He answered immediately. "Oh, Mom, need something," he chuckled. "What are you doing?" "I'm eating this limited time menu item. It's totally Instagram worthy." "Where are you now?" "On a family trip. We'll be back tomorrow." I could hear the noisy bustle in the background. He seemed to be at a tourist spot but alone, not with family. He seems to indeed be at a tourist spot but not with his family. He's alone. Even now, it appears he only thinks of himself. He was unable to protect Camila, Mila, or Kent. I felt a strong need to protect them myself, trying to maintain calm despite seething inside. I said, "I see. Stay safe." "Oh right, the souvenir." I hung up before Mido could finish. He had hidden the fact that Camila was hospitalized, and just for some limited time dish, he neglected the kids. According to Mila, it seems Mido had lied about going to work. I knew it. Mom worked too hard and collapsed, right? She understood the reason for her mother's collapse even if she didn't know the word overwork. It's baffling how Matteo fails to understand what even a child can. Mom looked so sick all the time, so I fed Kent whatever was in the fridge. "Did you eat anything, Mila?" "No," I held back. She shook her head back and forth. She shook her head, her cheeks hollow, too thin for her age. They must have eaten nothing during the days their parents were absent. "I haven't been to school. I miss everyone, but I thought I had to wait for Dad." Mila's eyes welled up with tears again. "Mila, you're such a hard worker, aren't you?" I decided to stay at their place that day. I wanted to cook a homemade meal for the two of them, but the fridge was empty. I can't make something with just ketchup. "Well, we'll have to eat out." "What do both of you want?" Their hunger made them list everything they could think of, and they couldn't stop. Eventually, we ended up at a diner where they enjoyed burgers and desserts. Seeing their beaming smiles, I felt relieved. People just can't seem to perk up when they're hungry. I was reminded of my husband's words. Once we got home and they had full stomachs, they quickly fell sound asleep. Watching their peaceful faces, I thought about Matteo. The next day, Mido still hadn't returned. I checked his social media for any signs of him while asking Mila about it. It's a convenient way to broadcast information, making his actions completely transparent. Today he posted about eating at another restaurant. That boy, just you wait. I decided to take the children to the hospital where Camila was. It seemed she had just been given permission to leave the hospital and was in the process of settling the bill. At the entrance, Camila, Mila, and Kent were overjoyed to reunite. "But why are you here?" "I can't condone what my son has been doing. You all should come home. But we shouldn't impose. The imposition is on the end. My son has done something terrible, and I'm sorry." Then I whispered a plan to her. Camila was initially shocked but decided to take action. Eventually, Mido returned a week later than he said he would. However, by then the home he returned to was empty. "What? What's this?" He even posted about this on social media, treating it as a joke, which was appalling. Just a few minutes after posting, he showed up at my diner. "Hey, listen, Mom, Camila and the kids," he started speaking as if he couldn't believe it himself. I got home, and no one was there, nothing was there. At the time it was lunchtime, and the diner was full of regulars. He began to tell his story with great enthusiasm, hoping to gain their sympathy. "I've been working hard on social media for my family, and my wife and kids have run away from home." "Well, that's tough." I listened disinterestedly, but the regulars reacted differently. The sound of chairs being pulled back could be heard around the diner, and quietly, little by little, they moved closer to Mido. "That's awful, right, everyone?" Not understanding the gravity of the situation and trying to stir up more sympathy, Mido was met with a remark from one of the regulars. "You're the guy going by mate on social media, aren't you?" "Yeah, my follower. Thanks for following. No joke." You practically forced us to follow you a while back. Other customers nodded in agreement. We get constant notifications and it's annoying. When we checked, you were disrespecting food. I did what? Messing with free toppings or tasting a dish only to trash it after one bite. No, that was just a joke. And you've been neglecting your wife and kids to fool around, it seems. That's because I'm going to make it big as an influencer. Influencer, my foot. The regulars scowled at Mido fiercely, his face turning red. Other regulars joined in the criticism, and the diner was filled with shouts of anger. I had explained the situation to the regulars just before Mido arrived. Camila had canceled the lease right after being discharged from the hospital, and now Mila and Kent are living with me at my house. Now she and the kids were living with me because Mido was neglecting his family for his dining escapades, focused solely on increasing his followers and likes on social media. He was oblivious to his family's needs. After revealing everything, the regulars who had seen Matteo's behavior on social media were furious. "I'll give him a piece of my mind," one of the regulars said, calling others to gather. Unaware of the unfolding situation, Mido continued posting on social media. "Stop it. I've done nothing wrong. Help me." Mido was pushed out of the diner by the regulars, sobbing as he went. "Don't ever show your face here again," scolded harshly by the regulars. Mido fled screaming. After that, he was never seen again. Weeks passed, and with the arrival of a new season, the talk turned to allergy precautions against pollen. "Perhaps my recent sniffles are due to that," Camila lamented, her unstoppable runny nose due to allergies. "I wonder about Mido, but as far as I know, he wasn't allergic to pollen." His whereabouts remain unknown. Driven by a desire to become famous, he had encouraged his friends to follow him. However, that backfired. Since that day, followers who learned of the situation quickly caused his social media to go up in flames. Naturally, his identity was exposed, and it's unlikely he'll return to this town. He got his just desserts for wasting food. I continue running the diner, living with Camila and the kids. Recently, we launched a website for my diner, now accepting reservations via smartphones. Camila, who works in web design, made it look easy. The website features our dishes and the spirit of the diner, passed down from my in-laws and about my husband. I never met your husband, but through these stories, it feels like I have. What a beautiful website, Camila. Thank you. Her work doesn't stop there. She systematized the inventory and sales accounting, making daily bookkeeping much easier. Everything that used to be done by hand now gets automatically calculated once it's entered into the computer. How convenient, I marveled. I quickly got the hang of it, even though I wasn't used to smartphones. Handling reservations over the phone has also improved customer traffic. Mila has started visiting the diner after school, confidently answering phone calls. "Hello. Yes, would you like to make a reservation?" she says. Though a bit hesitant, she insists on handling it herself, assuring me she's fine. Our recommendation: well, the fried chicken. It's freshly fried in a base, she suggests. Watching her take calls with her notes in hand has charmed the regulars. Everyone is smitten with her cuteness. As I manage the diner today, I wonder if she'll take over the business someday.